fucking pillows. They're too small.
And they're non-existent. They're just like...
You were saying when you were a kid how you were like...
I can fart smell like airplane pillows.
Because that's what they do. They sit on them and fart, and then they give them back to the people after they're done.
Wait a minute.
That's what they do. They wipe their fucking hands of the pillows and save it for the next guest. Get pink eye.
Stink eye, too.
Stink eye for the pink guy.
It's not anything.
I know, sorry.
But, yeah, wait. So we're talking
Did you ever watch Queer Eye for the Straight Guy?
I hate that stupid fucking show.
but what is... all I imagine is just a bunch of guys going in going, hello, and
they're all like, you are wearing a terrible outfit.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Let me match you up.
There was a time where I just stopped watching MTV. Like, I used to watch MTV. There was, like, this one show where these, like, celebrities would come in and, like, redo this guy's and, like, say, like, we're gonna give you the best day of your life. And they do a bunch of shit. I don't remember what that was called, but that was a show I used to watch really early. That was around the time when, like, Real World came out.
Oh, yeah, that's...
Real World came out. So it was, like, the start of that. And then you tune in now, it's like, I don't watch, like, these fucking Jersey Shore and all these terrible shows and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they were just... Remember Made? MTV Made?
No.
There was this show called Made, and, like, it would just be this fat loser in school, and he'd be like... I want to be a wrestler. And then this guy, like Hulk Hogan comes in and he's like, I'm going to teach you how to be a wrestler.
That's what I'm talking about. These celebrities would come and like do something for him.
Yeah.
Like, I want to meet like Christian Bale, and Christian Bale would come in. And
yeah, except
like,
no, but the kid would be like, I want to be Batman. And then like Christian Bale would come over and be like, this is how you be Batman.
Yeah, exactly.
The poor kid will never ever.
You know exactly.
Ever.
It's a joke. It's to make fun of like fucking Tubby Tommy and show.
Yeah, that's what it's for. It's for to laugh at them because it shows them on the treadmill, and then the personal trainer's like, run, Tubby, and the guy's like, I can't do it anymore. And they show it and they try to make drama and stuff, and
they try to make genre.
It literally is just to laugh at him.
You know what really pissed me off once? One time my sister was watching Super Sweet 16. But now it'll make you really pissed off anyways because of how fucking retarded these people are. But there was a part in the show where it was like the girl was having her Super Sweet 16, right?
Yeah.
And then it showed this bunch of nerds outside and they're trying to get in. And you're like, you fucking nerds, what are you trying to get in there for? But then when the nerd tries getting in, he runs and a bouncer pushes him away. But then what really pissed me off was instead of playing like a wah, 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 it got a sound effect from The Sims of when the Sims piss their pants, and it plays this like musical like right, but except they left in the pissing sound effect.
What?
They just left it in, like you could hear like water splashing on the floor.
I can hear your autism in my ears.
No, like
you're fucking severe.
Why wouldn't they at least cut out the end?
How did you know that it was a piss Sim sound?
Because I played The Sims constantly when I was younger.
Let me tell you something. When you were The Sims, like, because when I played The Sims, did you ever do that like fisheye code, that fisheye cheat, where you could like see through the Sims' eyes?
Oh, that must have been on the PS2 version, wasn't it?
Yeah. I was always trying to like see through the.
I had The Sims Living It Up, The Sims House Party, The Sims
Nightlife.
I didn't have that one. Oh. We should talk about something that's not The Sims now. Hey Corey, remember that time you told us about the Power Rangers kid?
The Power Rangers kid.
Yeah. Can you talk about that to end this podcast?
Yeah. Because I guess people ask about that. I don't know if I left on a high note and kept the cliffhanger rolling, jumped the shark at that moment.
I like the story.
Basically, we knew this kid next door who always wanted to like hang out with us, and we were like too cool for school. We were playing DBZ and like laughing it up, and he would be like, "Hey, I like the Power Rangers." We were like, "Yeah, I grew out of that, idiot." So we were jumping on a trampoline, shooting our Kamehamehas, being cool, and he'd come over in his fucking like Power Rangers tighty whities all the time, and he would like try and jump on us and be like, "I'm the Red Ranger," and we'd fucking like kick him in the forehead and knock his stupid ass into the dog den. The dog would come all over him. But anyways,
why even say that? Go on, Corey. Go on. Finish your story. You okay, Corey?
I'm just remembering us doing just fucking kicking his stupid ass off the fucking trampoline into the dog hole.
What?
Well, we went over there once, and we went over there once, me and my friend Dylan, and he was like doing like he pulled his shirt over his head and he fucking pulled his pants down and he did a Power Rangers dance completely naked with his like fucking 8-year-old dick hanging out. And you know, and then we were like, gross, you're gay. And then we ran home and we had popsicles. But Dylan took the last fucking popsicle I wanted, so I was stuck with. That's what I remember. I forgot about the dick part, and I was so mad that fucking Dylan took the fucking strawberry popsicle, and I had to be stuck with shitty grape. And that motherfucker, completely forgot about it. I remember like he was doing like some like YMCA dance with his fucking shirt over his head and his dick hanging out. But I more remember the popsicle thing.
You remember more about the popsicles than you do about the baby dick.
Because that was the last time I had cherry popsicles in a while.
I hate cherry.
Well, this has been Sleepycast. Chris, Niall, Corey, say bye.
What kind of ending is that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, this is the end of Sleepycast.
So let's Sleepycast.
Tune in next time for the Q. Corey Spazkin.
I'm Christopher O'Neill. And I'm Niall.
A dick face.
And that's it.
Rodeo brand paper towels for messes as big as Texas.
There is a world as tangible as our own, impossible to see yet unavoidable to sense. A world enveloped by a seemingly unending ocean of forests. Buried deep in that forest, tucked away neatly within a blanket of twilight, lies a quaint little cabin. And in that cabin is a bunch of guys who's a bunch of bullshit.
Welcome to Sleepycast. My name's Samtastic, or Sabrina. I'm from Canada, and I draw
Tell your whole life
pinups
story.
and stuff all day.
She's a good. Would you like to plug? Would you like
This isn't the
Please.
Sabrina podcast.
would you like to plug yourself live?
No.
Her Newgrounds is subtastic.newgrounds.com.
I think she read something more prepared. You sick bastard say.
Niley!
What?
Did you think
I'm Niall. I'm Niall.
I'm Corey, the Spaz Kid.
The Spaz Kid.
Papa Cosmos, Zach Pebbles, as I say.
And I'm Chris.
Gross.
So we got
We have, this is a new part of the series. We haven't done this before in the podcast, but we're going to start having some guests on. Wow, who'd have fucking thought?
because we're getting boring.
Yeah.
No running out of ideas.
Gonna keep
We're going to
track.
kill ourselves. And so anyways, we have a great artist friend for many years. It was Sabrina Saptastic, as she said. Her Twitter is
Sabtastique.
@Saptastic.
Oh,
With
QUE.
an I.
QUE.
Is it really?
She's French-Canadian.
Sabtastic is taken.
It's fancy.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I thought it was
I
Tick.
got sabtastic.com though. I mean,
Well, that's
That's
good.
good.
yeah.
You own the domain
I
saptastic.com.
do.
It's Sabrina.
Some sweaty nerd was hoping to get a hold of it.
Was that you, Corey? Was that somebody
Yes.
you? Type your little fingertips, try to get that, snatch that.
That's why I brought it up. You have many stories.
I have a good stock.
On our way walking to the store, you brought up like fucking bonanzas of stories.
Yeah,
and
she's
they
full
were
of wild
crazy.
adventures. She's like,
I don't really got any stories,
but then she's like comes out
Wow,
with these
stop
like
doing that
amazing-
voice. Makes me
Yeah.
sick.
Stop doing your
I'm
tranny
not going to
voice.
stop doing my voice. It's an authentic girl
You
voice.
do it
It's
you do it
not.
in the shower,
It's
though.
not.
That's how I sound.
That's what I'm singing. If there's something
No,
that's...
there's no singing.
You know what you're
say,
doing?
Look at my little
Do you know what
tush.
you're doing?
You say,
You're
look at
doing
my-
your official Christian tomboy voice.
Yeah.
Wow, man, now that kind of cut a little deep.
So.
So that's what you get.
No,
for
I did
girl
read
voices.
going,
oh, look at my little titties. Hope no one sucks them. Ooh, get
You guys are denying Niall of his one true talent. So.
Yeah, like literally
No,
the
let me
only
hear
thing
your
I've got
voice.
going in my whole entire
No.
life. What?
Do some sexy moaning as a girl.
Corey, I know you're going to get horny.
Niall!
You're actually going to get horny, though.
Look at my dick if it helps.
That makes it less gay. So, no, I will not do that.
Like, it'll make me horny.
Get me fucking horny. Do you want to make me fucking come?
You hear that? You hear that, Niall? It's the sound of everyone clicking the back button immediately at once.
Zach, rub your
In
cock off
unison.
my clit. Yeah.
It just sounds like you doing a girl voice.
That's what it is.
Stop!
Cut it out.
All right, we were talking. We were talking about
Sabrina's stories. She has many
Sabrina's
stories.
stories.
She has stories.
Sabrina
about
has
Stop.
closet stories she's been wanting to reveal to the world, to everyone ever.
Corey.
So long story short, I'm like overly nice to a fault, and this sounds really like cocky and arrogant, but I'm really non-confrontational to the point where like I'll put up with people's shit for days or years, like actually literally years.
They let
to this
them bother
point.
you.
Let it build up.
And yeah, like I
fester.
won't say anything unless it's like actually like really
To the breaking point?
yeah, to the breaking point. So long story short, well, actually, no, this is like a really, really long story. Like, are you guys okay with
Dude,
this?
we have
Listen,
all the time in the world.
Do you know what I do?
That's
I
too long,
say,
short story.
I say long story short, and then the story becomes longer. That's
Yeah.
sort of my thing.
Okay, like I can kind of boil it down and just
You
give you the
can
good
you can
stuff.
fucking
Or
create a novel before
it's-
us, and we'll probably go
this
along
is
with
like long story short. Why did I say that? It started in like 2011, And I used to do this like summer camp kind of, I don't know, you sit in a park and play games with kids all day. And so the age range is like 6 to 12-year-olds, like little kids, right? You just play soccer
Tasty.
with them and like play whatever grounders and all that stuff.
Grounders?
Grounders, yeah.
What the fuck is
It's like tag, but you're not supposed to
Touch.
touch the ground.
That's
I
right.
used to.
Okay, so you can't like shove a kid to
Like
the.
it switches around, right? Like the person on the ground is it, and then you need to try and catch all the kids that are up on the
Did you?
structures.
I did that before.
Did you like? I used
Last
to.
week.
Grounders. Like, is there this game like where
okay.
someone pretends to be an earthworm and like everyone else around them are birds?
More or less.
Corey, that sounds horrifying. So that sounds.
You have to do
You
this.
rip their heads off with your.
You didn't let me finish.
Why is everything you do like a weird version of the original?
Something humans do. It's like, yeah, play tag. My dad fucking pins me down and like slaps me and pours glue over my face.
That's not what I was gonna say.
You got slime.
That's not what I was gonna say. And if he was gonna pour anything on me, it'd be coconut oil.
Why? That's proving the point, Corey.
Coconut head from Fart Boy Lava Girl.
Oh
I
my
go fuck. So continue to bring it up.
Sorry, Sabrina.
No, it's cool. I don't mind.
You're gonna be derailed at least 6 times.
It's okay. It's okay. It's good
part
to
of
get
the
me like.
adventure.
I'll remember my train of thought better. So yeah, like these kids, there'd be like 30 kids a day, like literally all day long from like 8 a.m. till like 3 or so.
Do you have
It was
any
pretty much like a summer daycare. Like parents would just drop their kids off at the playground all day, and I'd
Were
be the
there
one watching them.
dumb kids?
So no, they're all right.
Well,
And then so like there's this one girl that would show up, and she was like, I only found out like maybe months later that she was actually like 21 or 19 or 20.
She
like,
pretended to be a
like,
kid.
she was pretending to. Was she walking on her fucking
Pigtails and like,
She carried a teddy bear around and stuff, so like, you know.
Did she have like shoes taped to her knees?
No.
She was walking around.
Cut off. Who said when she was walking on her
walks
pigtails?
fine, but, like,
I said that.
Like that went over my head and then it just kind of settled in.
no. I said, did she have pigtails? And Corey said something. You put those things together.
Wow, you're becoming mean, psycho.
She walked in her. She was somewhere.
shaved
People
head.
walk on hair. Continues
She has a
to.
shaved
She
head.
actually had a shaved head, yeah. And at some point, anyway, she'd show up to this camp thing. I won't use her real name. Like I don't know, you guys want to come up with a name for her?
Yeah, Michelle.
Retard camp.
I would call her the survivor because she is
Survivor.
obviously.
Matilda.
has
What's she look
cancer.
like? What's a definitive thing on her face or feature? What's a feature? What's a feature she has?
Round face, kind of like a little
Beaver.
Little,
No, we call her
no,
Bulbous
big
brain.
nose.
Bulbous brain.
Anyway,
Big nose, bulbous brain.
So yeah, she'd show up to this like playground thing. Like you could time your watch by it every day. She'd be there, and she would always kind of be really like withdrawn and like not do anything.
Yeah.
And like you're trying to watch like 30, 40 kids, you can't like always go and make sure that they're doing okay. But I would try. And the one day I go and approach her, I'm like, hey, you doing okay? Like, is everything all right? And she's just like, I don't have any friends. And I'm like, and she's like, are you my friend? And I didn't hesitate at all, right? I was like, yeah, of course I am. And she's like, can I have a hug? And I'm like, yeah. And so I give her a hug, and it was like this really, right away, it was like this really like prolonged kind of, okay.
This is sweet,
you're
but this
peeling
has
her
like a
arm off
darker
here.
side to it.
And like, yeah, and so that was like day one, right? So, red flag, just, you know, you're peeling her off you already. Anyway,
Oh God.
Hope you learned
So-
your lesson.
oh, I did. The next day, there's, I don't know, she shows up and like something like really weird that I've never ever seen a kid do before happened, and I was like legitimately scared. As like a supervisor, you're responsible for them.
Yeah.
She's sitting alone, and she was like shaking, like just ever so slightly, like trembling. And I'm like, oh my god, are you okay? And she wasn't talking at all. Like her face is just completely like just stone cold straight, and nothing. Like she wasn't making eye contact. And I'm like, are you okay? Is there anything I can do? Like what's going on? And she starts shaking, and she starts like drooling, and her eyes are rolling back. And I'm like,
Oh my God.
She
like,
had a seizure?
and I thought like I didn't even know that was a possibility, right? Like I'm like,
Was it
what's
demons?
happening?
Yeah.
And so like she kind of after like maybe 5 minutes she snaps out of it, and I'm like watching to make sure she's okay. And I've never dealt with anything like this before. Like you have first aid, yeah, but they don't teach you how to deal with this ever, right? So I'm like, okay, I do you have a phone? I need to call your parents. Like I need to talk to somebody. And anyway, I call her mom, and I'm like, okay, something just happened. I just want to make sure your daughter's okay. She's like, I'm freaking out because like I don't want to be responsible for this. I want her to be okay. And the mom's like, oh yeah, she has pills for that. She'll walk it off. And I'm like, just completely like,
She'll walk it off.
no care.
She's like convulging on the
whatsoever.
table.
Literally,
She'll walk off with brain bleeding, don't worry. You know.
And the mom, wait, she's okay. She'll walk it off.
Does she have like pills that she takes while she's convulging?
No, she's supposed to take them like every day at the same time. And she always
She's supposed
forgets, and it's like.
Well, of course she's a downy with a
Anyway,
mission.
so
Corey.
yeah, so I call the mom and I'm like, what do I do?
She's a downy.
And the mom doesn't even care. I'm like, is there anything I can do to like make sure this doesn't happen in the future? And she's like, no, and doesn't help me whatsoever.
So
I'm like,
her,
great.
her mom was just like, she's
a freak. Whatever.
Didn't give a shit. And
Your
like,
pal you in the side of the head a couple times. You should.
and so like the summer goes on and this happens like I kid you not like maybe on the hour like every hour.
Oh
and,
my
like,
God.
And I found out it was like it stems from like her thoughts and stuff like that. So if she works herself up and she thinks about negative things, it'll actually like send her into this like she called them stress attacks, right? So eventually, like I found out way later that this was like a form of a seizure, like you know the petit mal, grand mal seizures.
Yeah.
Petit mal is almost controllable, while they can still like stand up and whatever. But
Get
grand mal is
themselves
like
to,
you're on the ground, you're
that sucks.
So she's having
She had
basically small
both,
seizures
like, she would
daily.
have both
That's when
of
you're
these.
She'd have
Work.
both seizures. So she was
Both
basically
kinds.
just like a shaking instrument.
And like so I would always be like really nice to her and be like, hey, how's it going? You know, like try and psych her up and be like, here's your friends, you know, here's
You
games.
like startle her and start the fucking seizures.
And just like I made sure that you know she would be distracted, right? Because you could actually distract her when she was like mid stress attack, and you'd be like say something funny. Stop! No! And I'd say something that made her crack up, which was so stupid. And like I hated doing this because it was so
It's a
dumb.
knockout joke.
But I was like, okay, what's her like
Do
middle name?
you know what you should have did?
I said Michelle.
Do you know what you should have did? Do you know what I would
I
have
said the
done?
survivor.
What?
Get a big brown paper bag, blow inside of it, pop it right in her face, right when she's convulsing.
Let's call her the
Watch the fireworks go.
No, because like, you haven't lived it.
No. What you do is
so much worse.
you pat her hand and you're like,
Can we just call her
pretty
Slippy?
bird.
Slippy. Okay.
Slippy.
So I'd be like,
Slippy?
Yeah.
What was my name?
I hate that one. Why don't you use the word slippy, dude?
This is cool.
It's not a cool word.
So imagine this
Okay.
gorgeous Slippy girl.
think of a name. Any name.
Bobina.
Slippy.
Okay.
Slippy.
Bobina.
I'm going with Bobina.
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 fuck?
3 goals. 3 goals for Bobina wins.
Ow! Chris, what the fuck was that?
Just threw a cup at Niall.
Ow!
I look how he also he threw.
Corey and them went to fucking Starbucks, and we got no fucking toilet paper here. So Corey comes up with a solution and gives us Starbucks. What is it?
Hey,
Napkin.
listen, I wasn't the master person behind this. That was Sab. She's like, listen, I'm gonna wipe my ass with all the napkins.
She said, I got a fat old turd coming through the pipe, my friends.
That is what she
And I
said.
need to cut this
That
thing,
is
I need
what
to
she
shake this
said.
food down.
She was then she lifted up her leg and
You
did
were
like a big
twisting
old
my
green fart.
words, sir.
I'm twisting your turds. Let's move on. Let's move on.
It's all right. It hit me right at the corner. That's
I
why.
didn't think it would hurt. I'm sorry.
Okay.
The Bobina enraged Chris.
Okay,
Bobina.
so crazy
So-
Bobina.
So you'd have to say something funny to snap her out of these like stress attacks, right?
Yeah.
So the one thing I'd do is I'd make like an intercom voice as if she was like at a school and she was being called to the principal's office, and I'd be like, Bobina, to the office, please, Bobina, and she would just crack up and stop doing the shaking and stuff. So I was like, oh my god, this works.
Sounds
Okay,
like an attention seeker to me.
okay, so you're on a roll already, and I wasn't
That's 2
this
high
smart.
fives today.
So like literally the whole summer goes on. There's one day at some point where I had to just basically walk her around the building because all the kids were on one side and I had to go watch the kids. But she was kind of, dragging her feet and stuff. She had 8 stress attacks, each like 2 minutes long each. Just to watch stress attack, it was just like you have to wait, try and say something funny, snap her out of it, and it was just never ending, right? So just, if you can imagine, like the levels of stress.
You know what this is?
Like,
You know what you basically are doing?
what?
It was something I learned in psychology in college.
Yeah.
You're basically doing, it's what they do for animals, like animal pea-sized brains. Yeah, you're conditioning them for the future. So you ring a bell if an animal to eat. So you ring a bell.
Pavlov's dog.
Yeah, exactly. You ring a bell.
Basically,
Go ahead, tell us.
yeah, so basically Pavlov's dog is, this fucking old asshole would ring a bell every time he feed his dog. So his dog knew every time he ring a bell, the food was there. And the dog's mouth would water even when he would ring the bell, there was no food. So
Yeah,
he
yeah.
associated the bell with food.
Right.
You basically did that
The
to
attention that I
Bobina.
was giving her was just kind of like
You're
You're treating her like a
I don't know
dog.
if
You're
that's quite
feeding your
Pavlov's dog,
dog
it's definitely
food.
kind of feeding into the cycle of...
What's it called?
I wouldn't say it's Pavlov's dog, but I would say it's kind of...
You're Pavlov dogging Pelbina.
You just changed your name a third time, Corey.
Bulbina?
It's evolving before our very eyes.
You came up with the name.
Why did you say Bulbina? What does that mean?
He said Bobina. What did you say earlier? You said she had like a
It's big nose, bulbous brain.
Oh, bulbous. Okay, I
He
get
keeps
it.
saying big nose bulbous brain. He keeps saying it over and over.
Alright,
Keeps
alright.
whispering to himself.
So,
Okay, come on.
so fast forward to like the actual like the part where it turned into like almost like a stalker kind of scenario.
yeah.
How
Right?
far in is this?
This is like towards the end of the summer, and she's like realizing that this little camp thing is going to end at the end of the summer, and she's going to like lose her best friend essentially. This is in her mind, right?
Did she advance the convulsions?
It got so much worse. It was like to the point where like there was I didn't even like.
You couldn't even leave her side.
Yeah, and I was like calling my my bosses and stuff, being like, "What do I do? Like, I need someone else here to help me, right? Because there's so many kids." And so, essentially, what she did is like, her caller ID at home. She found the number that I used to call her mom that one day, like way back, and so she had my personal cell phone number. And from there, I guess she got like even more of my information by asking around the kids at the playground, because I used to babysit some of them too way back. And so she got my email address, my phone number. Those two are like big ones for like Facebook. You can get everything from an email address. And so
The can of worms have been opened.
yeah, exactly. So I start getting text messages being like, "Hi, Sabrina," every day, every freaking day. And so I'm just, I'm kind of like ignoring them for the first little while. Like, this isn't, we're not like best pals, right? I'm not gonna reply all the time. And it got to a point where she would start saying things like, "My friends threatened to beat me up yesterday," and I'd be like, "Oh my god, are you okay?" Like, I'd text back right away.
Listen to a reaction from you.
Yeah. And so she would say these like ridiculous things that I would always take seriously. So I'm like, "Are you okay? You need to call the cops, right?" And so like sometimes she would actually like call my house, and like she even got my parents' number, come to think of it. So she was calling like my personal my parents' phone number at the time when I lived with them. And so like I get phone calls from her, I get text messages, I get emails, like everything. She just like would overload the social media with just herself, right? And so she ended up saying that there's these two bullies that like found her at a mall one day, and they like beat the crap out of her. And I was like, "You need to report this to the police." And she was like, "No, it's okay." And I'm like, "No, I'm serious. This is not okay." So she starts like building this like these scenarios and stuff, saying that like this person's gonna put me in a grave, quote unquote.
Building
and like
up a facade.
she showed me pictures that like these supposed bullies had drawn, and I was just like losing my mind. I'm like, "This is not okay. You can't pick on a person like this."
Yeah.
And so like I got way too involved for like the job that I was doing. Like
You fell into a trap pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. It was like all part of like this weird little like plan, right?
Listen, maybe she went there completely aware that she's not actually convulging. She's making a new friend.
Later.
Corey, this happened 5 minutes ago.
What?
No.
We came to this conclusion.
So
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
possible, like, I mean, yeah, you guys are already, like,
Corey's the
way
big
sharper
ass
than I am.
detective.
Yeah, Detective Corey.
Listen, I'll tell you what.
Corey's magnifying glass through fire. He's like, hold on, this is burning. This might be on fire.
No, I would be like this. I'd be like, put this to Mr. Smithens.
Corey! Was that a fucking Sherlock reference that you were trying to do, but you couldn't remember?
Yes.
You fucking...
Watson?
Were you trying to say Watson?
Yes.
Smithens. I see where the...
I saw the gears in your head. You're like, okay, Smithers. Smithers, don't go fuck. You thought Smithers
I
from
fucking love you,
Simpsons
Corey.
Studio.
Anyway, keep going.
Yeah.
Wait, I didn't finish my
Go, yeah.
Sherlock Holmes scenario
Go for it.
about
Smithens, yeah.
fire.
Corey, you gotta do the magnifying
It
glass.
wasn't
through
about fire. He said fire.
Corey, hold big old magnifying glass. Hold, look at that fire.
Fire is created when kinetic energy moves very fast.
Corey, not a science guy. Alright, sorry. So continue.
Alright, so fast forward a little bit more, like at the time I'm working two jobs, right?
Wait, I'm
so,
losing my fucking
so the
mind.
day would end, and I'd go
sorry.
to my other job, and it would be like the end of every day. I'd have to peel her off me because she'd always want to hug goodbye.
Yeah.
And it got like
Wait.
really
Why were you going back and meeting her?
No, it's at the playground.
Oh, this.
It's my
Oh, back.
job.
Oh, so
Yeah.
you were still going back.
She had to go
Wait,
anyway.
she was
Yeah.
emailing you and calling you
Yeah, and she
during
went to the
that.
park every day, so it was like I never got a break from her, right? And like,
This could
you
be
know,
its
anyway, I
own
felt
story.
really bad for like this whole scenario that she's
normal
in, right?
personal
Because like
idea.
her mom obviously doesn't give a shit about her,
No.
right?
Right.
And so, like, I kind of know the situation at home too, and it seems like nobody really pays attention to her at all. So like, it makes sense that she's doing this. At the time, I had no idea. But anyway, I go to my other job, and at some point, I guess, I don't know how she found this out, but she found out where my other job was, and she would just show up and wait at the counter and just sit there. And she did this thing where like she'd be looking in one direction away, but she'd be looking at you out of the corner of her eye, like I'm looking.
So her
at
head
Zach
would be
right
turned
now.
to maybe to the left, but she would still be looking at
Yeah,
the
yeah, she'd
corner
be
of her
looking at you
eyes.
like this, like a little sideways kind of.
Holy,
like,
she make a funny
wide-eyed.
noise like.
Sometimes, yeah, and like.
What?
So, no, yeah, and.
It's like an Abraham Lincoln penny.
And yeah, like it just, and sometimes too, like she would like pretend she was in pain, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So you'd make sure, like,
So
oh,
you have to
okay?
go over to it, yeah.
Yeah, and you have
So
to
you
make
could
sure
just
she's
avoid her.
okay. And like there's even times where like I'm sure she threw herself off of her bike onto the grass, and like it wouldn't be like she's in obvious pain. It would be like ow.
She'd fall
ow.
down and she'd do the
She'd say
Abraham
ow.
Lincoln face.
And
to
it's like
you.
you're clearly okay. I'm not going over there.
Yeah.
Anyway, like so she started showing up to my other job too. So it was like I could not get away from this person.
I
Is this
like
going
how
on-
she's like sneakily.
Not
just
even
like
sneakily.
It's not subtle.
This
There's
is
no
like
subtlety.
this is like walking in with a fucking newspaper with two holes in front of like just looking at the news.
Yeah.
She's fucking staring directly at you.
Binoculars poking through.
Yeah.
So is she showing up at your second job while you're still doing
While
the
I'm
playground
working,
thing?
This is
yeah.
like awful.
And-
But so this is also going on. This is overlapping the phone calls, the emails, and
This is
more
amazing.
Everything,
story,
yeah.
by the way.
Like it seems like literally, as soon as she goes home, she gets to work on those emails.
So what was your
Text.
state of mind at this point? You're like, she's a girl who needs help, but she's obviously fucking nuts.
Yeah, and it's clearly
You
like
can't
out
just be
of
mean to her.
my...
'cause
Were you
she
scared,
obviously-
or
I wasn't ever like scared. She's not like violent or.
Do you know what you shoulda did?
physically dangerous, Never.
My friends for their like crazy dog,
Yeah.
they got this like electric fence.
dog.
They got this electric fence where it'd run at it and it would learn that it was electric.
Electrify her.
Oh yeah, they wear
Hold on.
electric collars.
Give me a call, not a fence, Corey.
Hold on.
let Corey finish?
Yeah.
No, the fence was actually electric, so you couldn't touch it.
Yeah.
So if you touched it, you get shocked. So
What
the
if
dog would
people fall on
learn
it?
like that, and the little like laser area.
So what, I'm gonna tase her?
No, just set it up around your door.
He's saying put her in an electric fence and just keep her in there.
Yeah.
Like a 5 foot by 5
Like
foot fence.
livestock?
A
Yeah.
16 by
Yeah.
16
Fraud
fence.
her.
Oh my god.
Fill it with kibble, and then watch that bitch
Put
ride.
fucking pig slap in there and fucking hit her with a stick. Say, "Yeet."
Fuck with the celery bowl and be like,
Sorry, go on.
No, it's okay. So
this is important.
at my second job, like not only am I working 2 jobs, I'm in school too, right? And this one day I'm in class and I get a phone call that I don't recognize, and it's her mom, and I'm like, hello? And she's like, hi, this is
Balbines.
Mom. She really misses you. You should come over for a sleepover. And I'm like, sorry, I'm okay, but thank you. And like she invited me over for a freaking sleepover, like I'm a kid. And I was, of course, like, no, I'm okay. And she's like, well, she really misses you, so you should, come over. And I'm like, oh, thanks, no, I'm okay. Like even at I was doing a final in school one day, and I got a phone call from her in the middle of this
my
exam,
God.
like dead quiet room, and my phone goes off. So that's like mortifying.
Did you answer it?
Yeah.
Hello!
No, I didn't answer it.
I just worried about that.
I turned the phone off, and my prof just looked at me like he wanted to kill me. I was so mortified. Anyway, so like you can imagine, like every freaking 5 minutes you're getting something new from her, and on top of that too, she'd give me drawings and like things. She'd give me gifts of certain things, and if you can imagine like what
Go ahead, say it. Say it.
like a child would draw.
Oh.
No, like
Baby, baby.
you know, like
Okay, child.
okay, like picture like a regular piece of printer paper, right? And then, like those smelly markers. That, like, I'm getting like nervous talking about this. It's like reliving all this.
Oh my god.
Do you have
It's seriously,
goosebumps?
it's messed me up. But like,
Do you have goosebumps?
no, I do.
You're such a bitch. Come on.
Okay, so she'd make these drawings, and they'd always be exactly the same, like exactly aside from maybe like the seasons. So there'd be like a fall one, there'd be like a winter one,
What
like
the
where it's
fuck?
raining or there's a rainbow.
What age was this girl again? 20.
Like 21.
Oh,
And she's
God.
like, yeah, she's 21 now. So back then she'd be like 19 or something.
That's
Still far too old
Yeah,
to
yeah.
be.
And so she'd make me these drawings, and it would be a picture of me with like a little like round head, brown hair, and like a little red shirt and like mismatched shoes.
That sounds so
She'd be
hot.
wearing one blue shoe, and I'd be wearing one blue shoe, so we were like trading
You
shoes
made trading
in the
shoes.
picture. And like,
Where she showed up with both the
it would say
shoes.
Sabrina and Bulbina, best friends forever.
Oh, you showed me.
She shows up.
Yeah,
You showed me, but you
She
showed me a
shows
few
up.
of these,
so
and
many.
She shows
they
up.
were drawn the exact same. Like
Oh,
literally,
yeah.
it looked like she traced them
Like,
almost.
I need to show all of you guys like
She-
Like
these
for precision.
Like,
she ever showed up?
Draw one
Whoa.
character.
Like
showed up.
midnight. It's ghoulish.
Sabrina, can I ask,
Holding blue shoes.
can I ask one question?
Yeah, yeah.
Is she gonna listen to this and kill us all?
No.
Okay.
Just meanwhile,
If she tried to grab me,
Why weren't you just
I'd run
mean to
into a
her?
closet.
Because like I don't want to.
That's a good idea.
No, sorry, not mean, right? Why weren't you realistic? If she
why weren't you blunt?
Why did
Her head's
like
too big.
you're not ashamed of
No,
your
yeah,
farts?
what you
I've heard
should've-
you talk about your farts a million times,
Yeah.
right?
Listen.
So obviously you'll talk about shits too, right?
Yeah.
Why don't you just
Sabrina.
take a shit? Corey, shut up.
Now we should
Corey.
be talking about different colored farts. Go
So I
ahead.
gotta do my
I was in the middle of a story, Corey. Anyways, why don't you just take a picture of your shit and then send it to her whenever she sends you?
Oh yeah, your story's good.
It is good. It's a
I'm
good
talking
idea.
about rainbow blue farts.
You're talking about rainbow farts. I'm talking about feces. We're both in the
Jesus
wrong.
Christ.
Listen, but
Almighty.
this applies. Why don't you just like she sends you a picture or she sends you a message, send back a picture of a shit. What's she gonna do? She's gonna be like, ew, I don't want to talk about this.
It's genius.
You should have out crazy
You
her.
should have.
No, like,
You should
okay,
have
yeah.
sent rate my poop pictures all
yes,
fucking day. Why didn't you do
I
that?
get what you're saying, and that's
Because she's not a psycho. She's a normal human being,
That's not
Corey.
being mean. That's just being weird. She wouldn't
You know
have
what you
liked
should
that.
have wrote? Red marker. This is my poop. And then number it. 1 through 50.
This is when the
That's
Frank.
like share shoes and poop.
Or maybe just write her a letter in your poop, like with your finger painting.
There you go.
That's the thing though
Yeah.
too. Like I actually like sat her down and was like, okay, look, like this can't happen anymore. And you know, like not even my boyfriend comes to work and sits this long waiting for me.
Yeah.
Like, so you know, I didn't want to be mean or anything, but like you can't wait for work at me like that. You know, you can't wait for me at work like this
Yeah.
anymore. And it was just obviously it didn't affect her at all. She didn't listen. So
They don't.
so fast forward even like further away when I'm working a completely different job. Like this other summer job is over now, and I don't even work at the second job I was at, which was like a Starbucks, by the way. And so now I'm working for the city at this like front desk job. And she finds me there too, and like she knew what my car looked like, so she like literally
Is she
followed.
tracking your
I don't
your
even
license
know.
plate or something?
Probably, like it was ridiculous. Like I'd see her at the store, I'd see her like biking
is
up and down
scary.
the alley sometimes.
I can hear the Twilight Zone theme song.
I had nightmares about stuff like this.
Oh,
She'd just be there.
God.
I'd be like asleep at night sometimes. And
She'd
I'd
be
hear her
staring in the
little, like,
window,
her little giggle.
having.
And I'd just, I'm
You'd be asleep and you'd hear that.
"Ah," and I'd be like,
Wait, you'd be asleep and you'd hear that.
no, I swear to God.
This is giving me goosebumps.
You can ask.
I'll
Jordan
get
if you
goose
ever meet
pimples.
him.
Yeah.
Did she stand out to your house? Like
We were in an apartment right on the second floor, so it's about head level. And like, I swear to God, she was like zeroing in on where I was because it was like right beside the park. I was right there, and like, I have a feeling she never figured out exactly which apartment we were in, but she
Or
found
which
out like
window
the
you had.
building.
Yeah.
She knew the building of some kind, and like, anyway, because she saw my car parked.
So you had
right
like
there.
you had a fear kind of that she would be standing in the window one
I
of
was
these days.
always terrified to stand by my balcony and I didn't even put my bike out on the balcony because
Oh
I knew
my
she knew
God.
what that looked like. And I was like, she can't. This is my only safe haven, you know. And I'm like, she can't.
Because if you were in America, you'd buy a big gun and kill her with it. But you were in Canada.
I looked into like restraining orders, peace bonds. I looked into like every possible
arrow?
thing I could do. Not bow and
You know
arrow.
what you
not-
should've-
not
Bow and
lethal
arrow.
action.
Pretty efficient. Shoot her in the
unfortunately.
leg.
You know what you should have did?
Why?
You should have hired 2 English guardsmen outside your door.
They're kind of scarce in Canada,
Yeah.
though.
What?
They're kind of
Save those Canadian English guys.
yeah, the Canadian English Buckingham Palace
You mean
Royal
Mounties?
guys.
Yeah, Buckingham Royal and Mounties.
Yeah, the Canadian ones.
You could have.
Mounties.
Yeah, you could have hired the Mounties.
I don't think we have Mounties in like Edmonton. Like,
Don't
They
say.
could have blasted her off her fucking moose. Sent her back to
Pitbull,
the
easy.
frozen winter she
so,
came from.
like in regards to that, right? Like they refused to help me in any way because like there's no threat of violence. I'm not in danger, and like there's no way I could convince
And
anybody.
she's not technically violent as
Yeah,
far as
no,
I know.
she didn't do anything
She's not a
violent. She
criminal.
was just following me around at all times, and
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, this needs to stop. And like no one would help me for like years, not even my work. And so eventually, it started to be like she would come into work and she would have a seizure like almost every time. And like thankfully we have like lifeguards on the premise and stuff, so they'd come and help her out. And like, of course, I would always have to be the one going to help her out because like I knew like the history and stuff.
Yeah.
And they were like, Sabrina, your friend's here, like you know, go help her. And it was so horrible. Like the one day, I remember so vividly. She came in, and like the job that I work, you're kind of like a captive audience, right? You're stuck behind a desk, and you only have your little room. You can't leave the desk, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they want to stand at the desk and talk to you for hours, they literally can. So that's what she did, and like she'd bring in a drawing almost every time, like the same drawing, and
Same
then
important
she'd have a
guy.
seizure, and
This is pretty much clockwork at this point.
yeah, and it would be like, okay, this is stage 2 seizure time, right? And so, yeah, so this would happen literally all the time to the point where like the lifeguards couldn't even like pay attention to the people in the pool.
Did people stop caring after a while?
They did, and it was
Yeah.
just like you know, you feel bad, but at the same time, it's like, this needs to stop. Like, don't come here anymore.
She should be burdening you.
Yeah, and
That's
so...
bullshit from the start to finish.
I remember the one day, thankfully my coworker was just like replacing me for my shift, so I got to kind of go hide somewhere. And I remember him saying that he picked up her cell phone, which happened to be like blasting music. So he picked it up to turn off the music, and the desktop, like the background on the phone, can you guess what it was? It was a picture of me that I took of her. And
She took of you from afar.
And then when you swiped it open so that the other background would show, it was another picture of me. I swear
different
to
one.
God. Yeah, a different one.
A different picture of you.
And they were both from the summer camp. And I
They were
like
both naked.
no, like.
Yes!
But like
Misogynist.
how did she get these things? Like, I hadn't added her to Facebook because I knew better. That was the one thing that I refused to do. And yeah,
She was a lead hacker.
Yeah.
apparently.
She
No,
knows 4chan.
she might have made a
Guy.
fake account and
She did at some point. She
yeah.
had to duplicate mine, and she added like real friends of mine.
Oh.
What?
Wow.
She made you?
Yeah.
What really pisses me off is her mom calls like, "Why aren't you hanging out with my daughters?" Like,
Yeah,
you fucking stupid
like guilt
bitch.
tripping me even more, and like
Your daughter's a
it's
fucking psycho,
bad
man. That's
enough.
why I don't want to have
Your
my
daughter's a psycho.
You know what I don't want?
Cunt.
I don't want fucking Leatherface Jr. cutting my fucking head off and then saving it for fuck it later. Maybe I don't want that.
Leatherface. That reminds me of something else she did that was totally
Oh, God.
insane.
Here we go.
Okay, so something.
Don't.
Yeah, no,
She
it's
cut the face
This is
off my
some-
grandma and wore it. What?
almost okay.
You know what
So-
this is? Do you know what this basically is? This is like a relaunch of Jason. If it was like the fucking
Right? It's like a
feminists got a hold of
Canadian
it.
Jason.
It's not.
feminists got a
Yeah, it's
hold of it.
Canadian.
Same people making
It's like,
Ghostbusters.
how come Jason gets a big machete? Where's the crazy retarded girl with a machete? This is that.
And she's a
movie.
shaved head too!
Yes.
Whoa, there you go!
Bobby.
Solved. Case solved,
Torpedo.
Sabrina. You don't need to worry anymore. That's exactly what this
Sabrina,
is.
I'm gonna write the script for the Great
Hollywood.
Pompino. The Great Pompino and the Big Knifino. Let's go.
Okay. Anyway, Sabrina,
So-
continue.
So there's really this
Oh, what
is
the
like
fuck
one
did
of
we
the
just
worst.
say?
Like legitimately, like I was scared.
I would be
moments, right?
terrified.
So my sister and I, we do this like these Comic Cons and stuff like that, right? Where we sell artwork at
Oh,
our little
no.
tables and our little artist alleys and stuff. Right?
Fantastic.
And so we're sitting there at our table, and like it's a really big public event, right? Like something that you wouldn't necessarily want someone you know having a seizure at. And so she shows up, and like she gives me kind of notice about this before, and like messaging me or emailing me, I can't remember. And she's like, "Oh, we really want to come and see you and buy art." And I'm like, "Yeah." Like, it's already like public information that I'm gonna be at this table. And,
Weirdly
like,
too is, I mean, you're there to sell stuff, and you
Yeah.
have to be preoccupied with her having a seizure.
yeah, and
or
she's
whatever,
literally if she's not having a seizure, she's standing in front of my table, blocking all the people from seeing
Who could be
anything.
buying stuff or looking at stuff, yeah.
And so like I'm getting like double shit on here, just trying to like make a living. And so she shows up, and like, you know how the whole cosplay thing works, where you get dressed up and you
Yeah.
wear whatever costume. Guess what she was wearing?
You.
No, she was wearing a Scream mask and a black cloak.
Okay.
And she was just standing there like I knew it was her, like right as soon as I saw her. just-
You saw her movement.
Saw her lumbering.
And no, like yeah, basically. So-
She had her fucking foam knife coming up to you.
okay, yeah,
Sabrina.
yeah. So my sister Mel saw her like right off the bat, and she was like, "Sab, I think she's here." And we just went quiet. And we just kind of like looked through the crowd.
Does she have like a distinct
this-
smell?
This was and this was the scary part that like
Ooh, fuck.
okay, if you can picture, you know, like the crowd's bustling, people moving, and all that
She
stuff.
stands still. She's.
And then she's like still in the crowd.
Dude,
So
this
she
is some
passes
Oh my
Inception
God.
shit.
This is like a freaking horror movie.
This
Like,
is
That perfectly.
so, yeah,
I
no.
can too. Slow
So they're
motion people
passing
walking,
by,
her fucking
and,
standing
like,
there.
You can see like glimpses of her in the crowd, and then she would just disappear with them.
Oh my God.
Vanished.
And
She
I didn't know
walking
she went for like half an hour or
'Cause it's
so.
like, she's
and then
not-
we find out she's like behind the booth now, and she's like watching us. She just watched us the entire weekend.
So this is sorry. I don't keep,
Yeah, and like, and it was just like so, like, I remember just being so tense and just being like, okay, where is she now? Where is she now? Like,
Wait,
please don't have a seizure.
Sabrina,
Like,
this is an anime convention.
yeah, it was that.
So
like,
this is like
everything
like fucking like Madoku in Naruto, and she shows up in a fucking Scream outfit. Completely polar opposite. Fucking-
So I get somebody to like sit at my chair and just cover my booth because I'm like, I gotta go. I need to not be in this room anymore. I'm so freaked out.
This is a setup of a horror movie.
It is, right?
Writers, get your pencils.
And so
What you got? Oh, sorry.
no, go.
Well, what you got in your hands here is someone who clearly isn't happy with themselves, so they're trying to take on your persona. They're trying to be you. They're trying to
She's
observe
Bobina.
you. They're trying to. They made a fake Facebook of you. They use your pictures.
Yeah,
That's what she wants to do.
I
She wants to-
No, I would even almost say that she's probably doing all that stuff
I
just
went
because she
through
wants
Sabrina
her,
phase.
her attention.
No, that's also.
What?
Because
Yeah, no.
like if you think about it,
Definitely.
if you make a fake
I don't think she's smart enough to to know how to do identity theft.
No, I think
that's,
she's. I don't.
That's another one.
There we go.
No.
She's,
did not.
Okay, you know like those raptors?
That's illegal.
You know those raptors?
Doesn't
in
matter
Jurassic
if you're a
Park?
fucking drooling
They, like,
retard.
open
Yes.
the doors.
Yeah.
That's like okay. So you don't give her like enough credit, right? Where you're just like, oh, she can do that. No way. She is like this like creative mastermind, and she created this like this world of like several bullies of these people. She actually used like real names from people from local high schools, so this was convincing stuff, right? Like she actually had photos of these people, and she was making up like several like social media accounts, right? Like whatever, say like Barry Manilow 123 and like something else, some other name, and she would make all these accounts talk to each other. And it would actually be like a legitimate conversation where they leave comments after like a few minutes, right? So it looks like these people legitimately picking on this poor girl, right? So I'm like, oh my god, this needs to stop. And at some point I called the cops on these real people that she had made up. So there were police like going to the doors of these like kids that she went to school with.
You have no idea.
Had nothing to do with any of this shit. And they're like, yeah. So that goes on for a while. I probably called the cops on them like 3 times because they're like death threats over and over, like uttering all this horrible stuff, even drawing pictures of like little bloody stick man, and like, you know, this is not okay. And so, from my perspective, being the idiot that I am, not knowing that this is all just a freaking joke, or not even a joke, just like for attention, right? So like I go on and I remember like the day that this all just came crashing down, and I like had this epiphany that this was all just a complete fabrication, and I just like my world was shattered. Like I'm sitting at work one day, and it's getting to the point where like corporate security had been involved and stuff, and like they had profiles on her. We did incident reports every time she came in to like track her visits and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my
and we
God.
even had it so that it was like public knowledge, like you don't give out Sabrina's information ever to anybody, even if they're claiming to be her friend, because she'd always do that.
Yeah.
And she'd even get other people to call in for her asking for me. And
Jesus.
it was brutal. And like, if you can imagine, like this prolonged contact, like every single day for over 2 years. Like I kid you not, like you'd either see her, you'd hear from her somehow, but like you hear like the wavering in my voice.
Yeah.
I'm like actually like perturbed by this.
I don't want you to break into tears.
Goosebumpy. No, I won't. It's
Because
not-
this is fucked up.
Boys
Yeah.
get turned on over here.
I just thought
Like I've never had a situation like this, but I've had something similar in a sense with the picture thing. Like, can I like?
Well, look, we should just wrap hers up real quick.
No. It'll like
done with her. She doesn't need to
it'll
wrap it up
segue,
yet.
I guess. So I was on the bus.
But we're not done with Sabrina's story yet.
And this huge whale of a girl came on. Not to be rude or anything, but when she walked,
Remember, she was a whale. She
when
was not a
she
human.
yeah,
Compare it to an animal, the
when
biggest
she
animal
walked,
on Earth.
when she walked, her fucking continental waves fucking moved too.
No,
the whole bus shook. I don't fucking care. And then she walked up to me and she's like, "Hey, my friend liked you." And then she showed me pictures, and I'm like, "Okay." And I looked, and it was just pictures of me looking away out the window on the bus, and there were 10 different photos of me in 10 different shirts. And I was like,
Oh my god.
and I gave the phone back, and I'm like, I'm
Corey,
sick.
Were you wearing?
And I put the backpack in front of
Corey,
me.
were you wearing 10 shirts over each other at a time?
No, like 10 different
Because
shirts.
that's something you might do.
It was 10 pictures of 10 different shirts.
Oh.
Of me! In different times! In 10 different shirts!
You mean you wear different shirts, not 10 different shirts.
No, he's wearing 10 shirts on top of each other.
Yeah, it was 10 different times. It was like 10 different shirts.
My friend shows you. But it's like, oh, that's not you, really, you big fat idiot.
Sabrina.
She's like, my friend likes you. And she
gotta
showed me
continue that.
pictures.
Okay. So this
Back to
is
Sabrina's story,
this is the
sorry.
whole like mastermind evil genius part,
So
right?
it's- yeah.
So I get to the point where like I don't know why I involved myself with this shit, but like they'd send me emails.
Because
of,
you're
like,
nice?
Like walls of text, completely unpunctuated. So at some point I kind of was like, I'm gonna mess around with these guys a little bit, and I would send back like corrections to their emails, because it was like the bullies emailing me
Oh, you
now.
correct like the
talking to me.
spelling corrections?
Yeah.
Oh,
so
you
then-
evil genius.
I know. And so
You got
like
them.
for some reason these bullies are contacting me now, and like not bullying me or anything, but like they're talking about me, talking to me about how they're gonna like beat the shit out of this girl,
So
and I'm like,
basically threatening her to you.
yeah, and I'm like, what? And so at some point I'm like, whatever, I'm just gonna like mess with them and not talk to them ever again. And so I did. I sent them like, I was like spelling tips and stuff like that. And then they actually started to spell better. So I was like, yes. and so anyway, this goes on, and like I find out more and more about these people, thinking that they're real, right? And like I kind of remember like what 2 or 3 of them looked like. So at that point, like, I'm at work one day, and like a lot of like kids come in because it's like a pretty much leisure center, like with a gym and a pool and stuff.
Yeah.
And I see one of the bullies, like one of those girls, and I'm like, oh, this is like it's on now. Like, I'm totally just calling you out, and this is going down now.
Oh no.
And her parents were there with her, and I'm like, yes, I'm gonna talk to the parents. She's going down. She's in so much trouble.
Hey.
And I'm just like, I'm getting so psyched up. I can see her, right? And so she comes up, and I'm like, hey, so we need to talk. It's gonna sound really weird and out of left field, but your daughter has been picking on somebody a lot, and I need you to see these emails. And the father just like blows up in my face, and he starts like screaming at me, and she's like, he's like, my daughter is retarded. She can't even hack a computer. And I'm like,
That doesn't constitute being retarded.
Yeah, and he calls her like retarded in this lobby.
He says the word
Full of
retarded.
people. Yeah, he says my daughter is retarded. She couldn't hack a computer, and I'm like, my jaw drops. I'm like, okay, I don't know. I didn't know what I was dealing with here. Not
When
really.
you show her, it's like, it's not my fault. You're fucking clearly her.
So I show him these like emails and stuff, and I'm like, they've been threatening me. They've been threatening this girl. Like, this is your daughter, and somebody else has been doing this. Like, I need to talk to one of you at some point. And like the mom is actually being totally supportive and like is totally nice about this, but the dad's like just red in the face, ready to like, I thought he was gonna hit me. I was really scared. And, like, I know he wouldn't because there's like cameras everywhere, but anyway. And it's Canada, nobody hits people in Canada. They're just really like angry. Anyway, so the dad like stomps off somewhere, and the little girl kind of like slinks away, and I
Is she
feel
retarded?
I feel terrible. Like
Slinks?
Okay,
So retarded people
See,
walk.
now I'm getting the idea if she's retarded, maybe mentally handicapped. I'm getting the idea that maybe the what's her name, Balbina?
Yeah, they knew
Does
each
she
other.
know her through special ed?
they all
So she's a special ed girl.
they went
Yeah.
to school together.
Yeah, exactly.
So they all went to school together, and she used the names of her real classmates to make up these like.
that's
in special
fucked
ed,
up.
in the special class.
That's
right?
fucked up.
So like, not only are these like kids who happen to also be dealing with this extra stuff, getting involved in like this shitstorm, then idiot me goes and calls one of them out, like in a lobby in a public pool in front of their parents, and fucking like, I'm such an idiot. Like,
What's that? How are you supposed to know
This hurts to listen to.
no, I know. I'm sorry.
It's not your fault.
No,
like, it's like
No, it is not your fault.
No, it's
Like,
their
oh,
fault.
not
did
your-
this
it's not-
happen to me?
It's kind of it's mostly your fault.
Just in hindsight, it's hurt.
It's actually completely your fault. Which is,
You should feel bad. You should
no, I
feel
deserve
bad.
this.
How dare
I'm
you?
an idiot. Anyway, so
Wait, continue.
yeah. So I take down the mom's number, and I'm like, okay, so just in case, like I'm the ass here, I'm gonna call you anytime I get one of these emails again, and I'll let you know what it says. Maybe you can help me out. And the mom's like, okay. So I take down her email address, and this is like Thanksgiving years ago or something. And so I'm sitting there one weekend at home, like fast forward maybe like a few days, and I get another email. And I'm like, okay, I'm calling the mom. Like, I'm telling her right now. I'm like, where's your daughter? What's she doing? She got a computer. And the mom's like, no, she's right here. Like, we've been sitting in the car. Like, we just got back from Thanksgiving dinner. And I'm like, does she have a phone? Like, anything? Is there like
Yeah.
a relative's computer?
Yeah.
And she's like, no, she's like literally we've been driving for 40 minutes. And I'm like, thinking for a second, like, this isn't adding up. This isn't right. Like, and then it just
You were
clicks
bamboozled.
in my head that
You were bambinoed.
Yeah, I was bambinoed. I was bambinoed.
She got bulbinaed.
And I
Big
just
stamp on
I
your
remember
forehead.
just apologizing profusely and being so embarrassed and like wanting to apologize to this daughter of hers, and I'm so sorry. Like, I had no idea, and she's like, it's okay. And so now I'm just like, it's like it was like the 5 stages of death. So you're like in denial, and then you're just angry, and you're just like, what the fuck?
That's what it's
just extra
And
mad.
then just like, anyway, so I get it in my head that like I need to tell her that I know this is all shit, and I know she's making it up, and I need to like call her out at some point. And I'm trying to like, I'm thinking,
But do it in a way where it's not explosive because she knows everything about you.
yeah, and like I don't want to send her into one of her epileptic fits, right? So,
Fake
like,
epileptic.
and that's why
dude.
this stuff dragged out for
You
so
want
long.
to give her whiplash
Sabrina.
for good.
Seriously, right? She has epileptic fits, right?
You know what
That
you
was
should've
a blessing
said there?
in disguise. You should have run up to her and went, ah! And she would have had a fit and died.
You know what you should have did?
Chris, they're not real
You know what you
epileptic
should have
fits.
did?
Oh yeah, you're right.
You should have sent her the fucking maze game because that
Maze
was
game.
popular at the time.
They're not real epileptic fits. And this was in 2011 or 12,
Oh,
not
the maze game. I was like,
That's
what the fuck are you
2006.
talking about?
I know what he's talking about. The Exorcist face. He goes, ah!
Oh, sorry, you're saying there weren't real fits, were they?
That's timeless.
Okay, yeah. So it got to a
For
point where, on
kids.
top of being bamboozled by Bulbina,
Yeah.
The worst kind of.
I
That's the name of the podcast, by the way.
bamboozled by Bulbina. Yeah. Anyway, fuck.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah. No. So on top of all this, I get to a point where like I'm starting to realize like, holy shit, those seizures that she had were all like, there's no way those were all real. Like,
Yeah.
and, like maybe the stress attacks were
couple.
plausible.
Yeah.
But there was like she was milking it, you know, like there
Oh,
were points where
definitely.
she's kind of.
She knows that that's how she gets attention.
Yeah, you could see her kind of stop and listen and like, and then just kind of carry it out even more and keep shaking and
Yeah.
stuff. And it's like, okay, no, you can't do that. Like,
Yeah.
that, you know, that doesn't happen in the seizure. Anyway, it just carried on and on and on, and like eventually I moved away from the apartment, and it was like the happiest day of my life because I was like, she doesn't know where I live anymore. I got a new cell phone number, and I thought I was in the clear. Operative word being thought.
Yeah.
And it went on and on with like every Comic-Con I went to, she was there in some new costume or just like wearing whatever.
Did she slowly get to the right costumes? Like she didn't go.
Did you finally figure out what the fuck the conventions were for and not scream out of all the conventions?
No, like I was.
Wait a minute, everyone's dressed like Goku. I stand out in the huge black robe.
Yeah, seeing someone dressed as Scream, that's the fucking weirdest.
That is
That is
That's
something only like a
amazing.
retarded person would do.
yeah, that's only a retard thing.
I love Scream.
He's my favorite anime.
Sorry, Sabrina.
No, I'm trying to like kind
Sabrina.
of collect like what else. It's all such a like blur. I've just pushed it into my mind.
Sabrina, there's things you could have done to get
Yeah.
her seizures going.
No, like I never
Take her
wanted
out
to do
for
that
good.
though. That's why
Make her watch that episode of Pokemon.
Yeah, take her to episode 13 of Pokemon.
Yeah.
Walk up behind her,
That made, that made all these little Chinese kids start like vibrating the ground. 'cause-
Bring a party of 5 over to her and start poppers all over her fucking face.
Yeah, throw snap pops in her feet and scream, "You're dying! You're dying!"
Another scary moment.
These are horrible.
I actually skipped this part, but I was driving home one day, and in order to get to the apartment that I used to live at, I'd have to kind of drive down an alley and then turn to the parking lot. And she would always take that alley, and I'd see her sometimes. I'd just turn right around and go like another way.
I would.
And so like before I knew all this stuff about like taking advantage of your like attention and all that stuff, and before I knew that she was taking advantage of like, you know, milking the injuries that she supposedly had, she would actually keep like all these medical like not instruments, but like she got like wrist wraps for when she hurt her wrist at some point, and crutches when she hurt her ankle, and she kept all these things. So she
Exactly,
has
'cause
like a
her
collection
mind-
of stuff to make people feel bad
Yeah,
for her.
exactly.
And so anyway, she has a wheelchair too that she just kind of uses whenever she can walk. Like I've seen her do all these like
Yeah.
things that require
Acrobatic
you know,
flips.
not quite, but like anyway, I'm driving along one day and it's like 10 p.m. I just got off work and it's pitch black outside, and I see these like wheelchair spokes glistening.
This is a horror movie.
This is fucking.
No,
this
I'm
is
serious.
This is the.
It was.
You know, I thought Jason was
I-
fucking
I
scary.
picture-
But here's the thing: Jason stabs people. This bitch is like psychologically
She just
stealing your
walks-
identity, turning into fucking Scream.
If I was watching a horror movie,
This would
instead of
fucking
a guy
scare me.
walking in and silhouette with a knife, I saw a little girl in a wheelchair, I'd fucking laugh.
Yeah, like like I
Yeah,
have.
picture like a dead quiet everybody.
Yeah, this-
You
You have like Stephen Hawking roll out.
I have a stalker story too, which I'm going to get to. But if Sabrina's like,
Listen.
if Sabrina's story is like as a horror movie, like fucking like Scream or whatever, mine is going to be like that new fucking Skype scary story movie. But anyway,
No, this
Continue.
yeah.
No,
No.
Sabrina's
So
story
she's
is
in a
the best.
wheelchair.
Yeah, okay, so I'm driving along in my shitty little car.
Does she?
And like my headlights are like old, right? So they're even like flickery.
It's like, oh.
And it's just like the
God.
perfect
Oh my
ambience
God.
for like what you would imagine in a horror movie, just the little wheelchair.
Was it like drizzling?
spokes. No. Well, I mean, it wasn't like foggy and like Silent Hilly or anything. But but yeah, I'm driving up and I see this wheelchair and I have this brief thought in my mind, like, oh, what if that's?
Balbina.
I don't think about it, but I keep driving.
Oh my
And then I
God.
just see like she's up like to the equivalent of like the passenger side window, and I'm driving slow, right? And I look
Oh,
over and
don't.
I see your face right there.
oh my god,
Don't.
Ah!
you jump
This
scared me there.
actually fucking scared me just now.
This
Yeah, me
happened
too.
to her
I was
face.
visualizing
Round
it.
little face and her little nose and like
she slowly
shit
covered
Penny
in
her
it.
face,
head
her
going
penny,
through.
her Abraham Lincoln face. looks
Wait,
at
wait,
you.
when Sabrina said her little nose, she like squished up her nose like
No.
a pig.
She, listen, Sabrina, did she do that fucking Abraham thing where she looked at you to the side, smiling like a scary monster? Don't fucking say that! That actually scared me!
Sorry.
The idea of that is terrifying! This is like fucking Hannibal Lecter rolling up on the back with 2 people fucking pushing him.
You were in
This
like
is
a lonely
scary!
alley with her, right?
Yeah.
You could have run her over and killed her easily.
Is this a dark, is it dark out?
Yeah, it was pitch black. It was like 10
You could
p.m.
have easily hit and run. You would have got away scot-free.
hit Bobina, people be like, that bitch is crazy from the start.
The good Bobina's dead! That's what the people were gonna say.
There would have been a chanting chorus when he walked into the police
Wait,
station.
so how did you get rid of this chick once and for all?
I didn't. This is still going on to this day.
It's an unsolved mystery?
This is an unsolved.
Does she show up with wheelchairs
She
occasionally?
doesn't know where I live.
Does it happen more sporadically now that like a little bit fewer and further
No,
between?
okay. The latest thing that I've gotten from her is she showed up at my parents' place like recently for Christmas and like knocked on their door and was like, "Hey, I have something for Sabrina. Is she here?" And they're like, "No." Like they know her by now.
Yeah.
They're like, "No, she's not here anymore. Leave her alone." And she's like, "Here you go." And like.
It's a bomb!
I feel so shitty because it was like the sweetest thing ever. Where she made a little friendship bracelet. She typed a letter.
You know it's not
She made
sweet.
a card. And
Yeah, but she wants you to know it's sweet, and she wants you to go
no,
thank
I
you,
know.
and then
she
that's
wants
when
me
it
to
starts
feel
again.
bad, and then
It starts
shit
again.
will just go on.
This is like a psychological.
I know.
This is
I'm
scary.
mind games
This is actually
by
like
Bobina.
I was talking about.
Kill the good Bobina!
I was
Kill
talking.
her.
I was talking about scary shit today, and I was talking about the idea of just having jump scares and stuff. This is actually terrifying.
No, I
this
know.
is psychological fucking fear.
yeah,
this is like, because when you were driving down the fucking street, and you were like, that's fucking Bobina, and you were going, you fucking knew, you heard those glistening wheelchair wheels, you fucking knew it.
It has dwindled a little bit.
And just because it's Bobina, you're psychologically thinking that. This is seriously like a fucking horror movie
I swear
level
to God,
shit.
it's like triggered. Like I'll think about it and I'll be like, man, it's been a while since I've
It's
seen
terrifying.
Bobina, and then
Yeah.
something will happen. and she'll be there
scared-
again. And I'm
actually, picturing it scared me. I'm not even joking.
Anyway, so like yeah, the most recent thing is she like brought this little Christmas card and like the friendship bracelet and the drawing and stuff. And
Is it
my
the
brother
same drawing as the last ones?
same drawing as ever.
It's, no, I'm not joking.
So-
I've seen like 4 of these now.
Yeah.
But it looks
Can you describe this for me?
It's like it honestly is like a baby drawing, but like every character she draws looks identical. It's very bizarre.
Same. It's like
and,
square
I,
body,
I swear to God, she
square
could
legs.
print it out. It looks almost printed, but it's not
Well, that's her
printed.
trying to draw because she knows you draw. You know, she's trying to.
No, but like every
that's
character
what I'm
looks identical. It's so fucking weird. Like
God, my head.
she showed
you
me,
gotta show me
two of them,
Like-
and they were identical. Identical.
I have like 30 of them saved. Like
That's
just as proof. Like if
30.
my body washes up in the ocean one day, like I'll have proof that this.
That the girl could be a
Your fucking body's stuffed with pictures.
Corey.
She filled you.
I
If
swear.
it was like an actual horror movie,
This would be the scariest fucking horror
best
movie
scene-
I've ever seen.
the best scene ever would be like Sabrina and her car getting chased by a girl in a wheelchair
Yeah, fucking
at high speed.
Oh my God.
Abraham Lincoln Hand. I'm telling you, they're gonna bring your body up because it's gonna be floating up to the surface with pee and urine from the pools of Canada, and then it's gonna they're gonna pull the body out,
bowels of Canada.
and they're gonna be pushing out what's left, and all these dirty 5-year-old drawings are gonna come out of your body. She's stuffed them.
It's gonna be like, that fucking scene from Silence of the Lambs where they pull out the fucking bug out of her, the chick's mouth. They're gonna pull a drawing out.
Jodie Foster pulling out with little tweezers. Like that's shit.
Yeah, she'd be like, what the fuck is this?
I'm sorry, Sabrina.
Are you finished?
No.
Keep going.
Do you want to do a prayer?
No. Seriously, I like it.
I love this. This fucking story is. At first, it was like.
You don't have to wrap it up.
At first, it was silly. Now it's just awesome. Keep going.
It's, and like the more you guys say, the more I'll like remember these weird extra little things that she did, and it's like it's
Go ahead,
it's
tell
gone on
them.
for so long. It's like this like encyclopedia of crazy shit.
This is like this is some fucking novel right shit.
Other Comic Con, the other like the second worst Comic Con experience that she showed up. Of everything I know of like all the stuff that she's done and like how she kind of uses attention. And I've like notified security that like, hey, this person may show up. Just keep an eye on her. If like something happens, please help like deal with it. Don't make me go deal with it.
Yeah.
So anyway, exactly that happened, and I predicted it to a T. Where I was like, you know, like I had my boyfriend show up and like he manned my booth for me when I just like got out of there. So what happened is she essentially, there are some stairs nearby, right? So she walks up these stairs. She's got crutches. She's got like leg wraps, wrist wraps, as much as she possibly can to like milk the appearance that she's injured.
She's set up.
And yeah, and so what she does is she walks up these stairs when she realizes I'm not there, and she like turns around and literally throws herself down the stairs.
Flies away.
No, I'm serious. She threw herself down the stairs and had a seizure at the bottom. And so the public starts gathering, and they're like, "Oh my God, we gotta help this girl. We need to get like EMS here."
Your boyfriend saw this?
I thought you were
He was
saying
like,
that she
yeah.
threw down her crutches and just walked away like happy.
She like threw down her crutches and fell down the stairs.
Oh.
Yeah, and so of course, like if you see someone with crutches fall down the stairs, like you're gonna go into like superhero mode.
Yeah, you
make
laugh.
sure they're okay,
Yeah.
right? And so yeah, she's doing this, and like she's like, you guys need to go get my friend Sabrina. Sabrina can help me. So she's
my
getting like
God.
the general public, these strangers that
She's
have no idea,
fucking cunning.
to go and find me. So these strangers are looking for me.
It's hunting for blood. You got.
People are
Oh,
hunting.
she's a
This is
a
like
manipulator.
This is like, and then this is like a whole new. It's like Metal Gear Solid 1. You're like hiding.
She uses people to do her bidding.
You always have these perfect opportunities and you miss them. Like,
Yeah, you
at Comic-Con, you could have been like, oh, fucking Tobey Maguire's at the front door. Everyone would run over her and trample her to death.
Yeah, you could have done that. She's at the stairs. She's at
That's the hottest celebrity in fucking 2015.
She's at the stairs.
Tobey Maguire, fucking Spider-Man from 2002.
She's at the stairs, right?
He was also in Seabiscuit.
She's at the stairs.
Fuck you.
You could have got some perfectly long fish line, wrapped it around the escalator when she's coming up. The bitch would have hit the ground.
Slice in half.
Everyone still would have surrounded her. She would have been like, everyone go get Sabrina. She would have
The general public find you eventually.
Yeah, so people that I don't even know are like, are you Sabrina? And I'm like, yeah, what? Like, I'm so weirded out.
Oh my
People
God.
don't like know my like name, right?
Yeah.
I'm not like superstar.
Were you like,
guy.
wow? Did you have a
like-
big smile on your face when everyone was like,
Yeah, and I'm all flattered, thinking like, oh my God, they know me. You know, like, and they're just like, your friend over there is in trouble, and I'm like, what?
God damn.
Exactly. I'm
And then
like,
your heart sinks and you
yeah,
fucking see it. You're like,
shatters, and I'm like,
You see Grandpa's eyes looking at you.
And you can't, like, if you can picture, like, the scenario of you telling a total stranger that you can't go help that helpless little girl, you are a huge asshole.
A crippled
oh
one.
God.
And it just made me feel like the biggest douche in the whole world.
So what you're saying is, really, you hate cripples.
You hate them. You see the hate burning
That's a
in your
lesson we
eyes.
all learned today.
Hold on, Sabrina, are you an ableist?
No.